Ryan Clark, the great racial intellectual for ESPN and The Pivot, has chimed in on nepotism and the Rooney Rule. And anyway, let's play the clip and I want your reaction. Shot number 9.
The big news this week is obviously Mike Vrabel being hired by the New England Patriots. I think it was a hire that many people saw coming, especially Aaron Glenn, the defense coordinator of the Detroit Lions, who turned down an opportunity to interview. And I think this kind of puts a light on the Rooney Rule, which to me, the New England Patriots made a mockery of. To interview Pep Hamilton and Byron Leftwich, two coaches who aren't even in football right now, just to fulfill a quota. Right? The Rooney Rule was put in place so some of these minority coaches could get opportunities to get in front of these executives and some of these owners that truly were looking to give the job to the best person. Now, I want to make it clear, I believe we have moved to a point to where organizations will hire the best person they feel for the job. But let's not make coaches who have worked their entire lives for this opportunities be the token interview. I think a better solution is for teams who want to skip the Rooney Rule, like the New England Patriots probably would have because they wanted Mike Vrabel, allow them to hire someone on the lower level that reports directly to the head coach, directly to the offensive coordinator, so they can get some of that tutelage that allows their resumes and their careers to build. But let's stop with the bullcrap interviews just to say we did what the Rooney Rule was supposed to do. When it was implemented initially, I believed it worked. It has now run its course and become something that is a joke to NFL and to NFL coaches, and more importantly, to the people it was supposed to help.
Listen, he could have just came out and said, because trust me, he's stealing a bit of this idea from me in terms of what I said earlier this week about, like, hey, man, these owners have figured out how to circumvent the Rooney Rule. They never believed in it. It's been a joke. And what he needs to say is that the Rooney Rule has made a mockery of the NFL hiring process, not that the Pittsburgh Steelers or the New England Patriots or anybody has made a mockery of the Rooney Rule. The Rooney Rule is not that important. And it comes from a conceit and a belief that Ryan Clark and many others have. I'm not singling Ryan Clark out, but they have this belief that, hey, the purpose of the NFL is to do something special for black people. And so we got to replace the Rooney Rule with another rule that'll make a mockery of the NFL hiring process, make a mockery of the meritocracy that the NFL and sports are supposed to represent. So let's replace the Rooney Rule that made a mockery of the hiring process, and now let's require NFL teams to hire black coaches who report directly to the offensive or defensive coordinator or to the head coach. Let's keep coming up with rules that show favoritism to a particular group because we're owed that. So we're owed that. This is my whole problem with Ryan Clark and many of these athletes and everybody talking on TV. We never talk about what we owe. We're always talking about what we're owed. And so these guys are making millions upon millions of dollars off the backs of guys that built this league years and years ago, playing a much more physical, a much more difficult game, off the backs of Christians who organize sports, and I never hear them talk about what they owe the guys that laid this foundation. It's always about what's owed me. And oh my God, 100 years ago, people suffered, and so I must be given things and special consideration, and we need to set up rules that favor me because someone 100 years ago suffered unfairness. Ryan, think this through, bro. Most valuable app you can have on your phone in 2025, it's Upside. No other app lets you earn cash back on the things you already buy. Download the free Upside app today. Use the promo code FEARLESS to get an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas. That's 25 cents back per gallon just for using the promo code FEARLESS. Let's get rid of all these little special interest rules because the facts are The people running sports, participating in sports, all they want to do is win and make money, and they don't care who they do it with. They're not sitting there, well, I don't want to make $1 million unless my coach is white. That ain't it. They'll hire anybody. They'll hire women. They'll hire transgenders. They'll hire anybody as long as it helps them win. I'm done. You go, Steve.
So, okay, the first half of what he said, I was actually in agreement with. But it's that part where he lost me, where so you want to place somebody symbolically based on racial demographics or some other flimsy qualification they have that has to do with race, culture, sex. So we call that what, the Kamala Harris rule? Just install her as the vice president and the presumptive candidate after Biden dropped out. Jason, this past week, I finished a book from the great Thomas Sowell, Social Justice Fallacies. And one of his underlying messages of this book, and he talked about it a lot, is that when it comes to measures and laws and rules that are placed for the greater good of society, he always talks about how there is a desirability of those type of measures, right? Like we want to help everybody, even the playing field, make it equitable for everybody. But he says the problem is we don't often think about the feasibility of such things. And they have this incredible negative impact over the long term. I just what you say the word meritocracy, right? I don't hear a lot of Asians talking about we need more of our representation in the National Football League. I actually want to see the best athletes. I'm good with my nephew in Atlanta kicking, Koo, whatever his name is, does a good job, right? That's all we need to see. I don't need to see a bunch of Asians playing football. Quite frankly, we're really not good at it. We're more meant to tutor the guys than to play the game. But they want meritocracy, except in certain situations. So think about this. Let's say you are a head coach that's going to get a job, whatever job he wants. He's a highly regarded one, took a year off, and he already has his crews of assistants, and he has a coordinator on both sides of the ball that are both highly regarded, and he's going to bring in his staff. So with the Kamala Harris rule, those two coordinators whose next step will be eventually get their own job, you're telling me that you're going to tell that particular coach, okay, you're going to have to hire this guy because now he's second in charge, even though there may be no prior existing relationship. Again, it's the desirability against the feasibility.
I think you make an excellent point. I know Thomas Sowell makes a lot of excellent points. And yeah, these guys come up with solutions that have no bearing, no thought on, hey, how do you actually execute this? Is it fair for everybody? Is it sustainable? Is it just something we're doing to satisfy the media? Because the media is never interested in real solutions. And Steve, we were gonna do this, but we're running out of time, and I got to get to the Michael Bishop interview. But it's almost like this whole name, image, and likeness thing that we were going to talk about. We'll probably talk about it next week. And just how we did name, image, and likeness, and now Title IX and the Biden administration are coming in and saying, hey, women got to get this amount of money. And these are all issues and problems that could have been foreshadowed at the very beginning. We don't implement real solutions. We implement real problems under the guise that they're solutions, and then we deny the problems that they're creating until it's way too late. Don't miss a second of Fearless. Hit that like button and subscribe to keep up with our latest content.